What's up guys, Vitor Pinhão here, welcome back to my channel, and in today's episode we're gonna talk about this camera, the Panasonic Lumix G7, and we will find out if it's still worth buying it in 2020. I just want to start out by saying thank you so much to everyone that is watching. You guys absolutely rock. And if this is your first time watching this channel, you might want to consider hitting that subscribe button because, you know, that would be highly appreciated. Also, just to let you guys know, there's a link in the description below if you want to check out the G7. Many of you guys know me because of the cinematic commercial that I shot with this camera, and I will link it somewhere in the screen and in the description below, so make sure to check that out as well. And there was even some people that compared the video quality of that commercial to Arialexas and Red cinema cameras, and that's just insane to think about because this camera is able to give you very high-end cinematic footage if you know how to use it. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about this camera in 2020 is actually the opportunity for people who are just starting out in videography and photography to buy a very low budget camera that has a ton of pro features. This is the camera that got me into filmmaking and photography back in 2018, and since that time it has been quite an amazing journey. I mean, I shot commercials with it, I shot corporate videos, music videos, promotional videos, photography, travel videos, product videos, real estate videos, weddings, cooking videos, events, Christmas videos, you name it. So let's dive into the pros and cons of this camera, starting with the pros. Well, this camera can shoot 4K footage 24 and 30 frames per second at 100 megabits per second. And you can expect very high quality footage coming out of this camera that you don't really see in any other camera in this price range. Also, it shoots 60 frames per second in 1080p if you're into that cinematic slow motion footage that we all love to see. It has a very nice flip out LCD touchscreen, and trust me, this thing comes in handy when you're in the field trying to get the shot because you can articulate the screen according to your needs. And if you want to vlog or do some talking head shots just like this one, that's an absolute must for being able to see yourself when you're shooting. Focus speaking is, in my opinion, one of the most important features to have in a video camera, and Lumix G7 has it, making our lives as filmmakers a whole lot easier by giving us the possibility to see what's in focus and what's not in focus. It has time-lapse and stop-motion features, meaning that you can set up a certain amount of photos to be taken and an interval between them, and the camera will automatically give you the time that is needed to make that particular time-lapse or stop-motion. Also, at the end of the time-lapse or stop-motion, the camera will automatically generate a video file with that particular time-lapse or stop-motion, while keeping the original photos as well in the SD card for you to use afterwards if you want. You can remotely control the camera with your smartphone by downloading the free Panasonic Image app, and this feature saves me a ton of time when I'm shooting myself because I can just leave the camera on a tripod or a slider and move around to find the best composition, and when I'm happy with it, I just fine-tune the camera settings a little bit and hit record or snap a photo all remotely from my smartphone. It's very compact and lightweighted, you can take it on your travels and you don't need a big camera bag. And this is a great plus if you're planning to put this camera on a gimbal because trust me, you'll save a ton of time and headaches when balancing gimbals with small and lightweighted cameras like this as opposed to bigger and heavier cameras. And the batteries last for hours. I mean, 2 to 3 batteries like this will probably be enough for an entire day of shooting, of course, depending on the usage of the camera. It has a microphone jack right here, and that's a very nice feature for being able to plug in your microphone and get better sound for your videos. You can take awesome photos with 16 megapixel sensor that allows you to have a fair amount of resolution, and you can also shoot them in RAW, and that gives you more dynamic range and flexibility in post when you're editing your photos. And because it has a micro four thirds sensor, you have a ton of lens options, not only native glass but also other lenses if you put an adapter or speed booster. For example, I own the famous Sigma 18-35 f1.8, which is a Canon EF mount lens, and with a speed booster like the Viltrox AF M2 or the meta bones, I'm able to mount that lens on this camera. And because I'm using a speed booster, I will get an f1.2 aperture on the camera instead of the original f1.8 from the lens. And that not only gives me more bokeh, but also helps a lot in low light situations. As for the ergonomics, this camera has a very nice and solid grip, and it just feels good to hold it. Also, the buttons and the menus were put together very well in my opinion. And now it's time to talk about the cons of this camera. And the number one downside will be the autofocus. It does use a contrast detection autofocus, but you will have an hard time trying to get it to work well. I mean, for me, it's not a deal breaker at all because I shoot in manual focus all the time. But if you want to use autofocus in a daily basis, that's definitely something to take into consideration. The low light performance is also another downside of this camera. But because it has a micro four thirds sensor, you cannot expect it to be great anyway. So I would recommend you to either light your scenes with natural or artificial light, or invest in a fast prime lens. The Lumix 20mm f1.7 and the Lumix 42.5mm f1.7 are two great lens options. I will link them in the description below as well, so you can check them out if you're interested. Just make sure to stay away from more than 800 ISO on this camera, because the image will start to fall apart if you go any further than that. It does not have unlimited recording time, so if you want to shoot longer videos, you might want to consider put a timer every 30 minutes, because that's the maximum time that the G7 can record. Although it has a microphone jack, you cannot monitor your audio because this camera does not have an headphone jack. Another downside of this camera is that it does not have any log profiles. But if you are a beginner, I would stay away from them anyways, because it takes more experience, time and energy to color grade log footage. Even to this day, I don't use log profiles because I find that they just slow down my editing workflow. And the last downside of this camera, in my opinion, is not having IVs. Although the video quality of the camera is very good, you will need to have steady hands or even consider buying a gimbal if you want to get smooth motion footage out of the camera, because it does not have in-body image stabilization. So with that being said, I really think this is the best camera to buy if you are just starting out, because even though the autofocus and the low light performance are not as good in this camera, you get a ton of pro features like the 4K cinematic high quality footage, the 60 frames per second in 1080p, the microphone jack, the flip out LCD touch screen, the focus peaking, and many other features. And for the price, I really don't think you can get a better deal right now for an entry-level camera like this. Actually, I'm considering buying another one of these just to have here on the studio on a top-down rig all the time. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts about this camera. What do you think about the Panasonic Lumix G7 in 2020? Would you buy it if this was your first camera? Do you already own one of these, or do you own another camera? Go ahead and comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it, guys. I really hope you like this video. I hope you find it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Smash that like button, and I will see you guys on the next video.